Adam Caplan is our NFL insider. He's been touring all the NFL camps over the last month of preseason action and joint practices and preseason games and injuries and cuts and everything else. You can see him here on SportsGrid across the board. You can see him on Coast to Coast regularly. You can follow him on X at Caplan NFL, almost 3 decades covering the National Football League, and he's ready for the regular season in 10 days to start up or whatever it is on the 5th with the Ravens and Chiefs. Should be awesome. But let's start today. We got a double shot with Adam right now. Let's start with the CeeDee Lamb deal in Dallas. It finally got done, and he is rich.
Yeah, and look, I told you every time you've asked me, anyone on SportsGrid, I said it's going to get done before the season starts. It's a priority. This is the first one to get done, which is what I said 2 months ago. Dak Prescott's is going to be harder, no question about it. It's more complex, but they had to get as close as they could to get to Justin Jefferson's money at $35 million a year. Lamb's going to make $34 million a year. We'll see what the real structure looks like. It's a 4-year extension. By the way, most of these receiver extensions have been at least 4 years. So look, the bottom line is you just said it. He's going to get paid. He got paid, and they had to get this deal done. The only thing that you worry about, Scott, when you have holdouts, he was holding out. He was on his 5th-year option. At valued around $18 million. You do worry about when a guy's working out on his own. That's physical shape. It's when you report to the team, are you in football shape? And they're not going to know that until he starts working with them tomorrow. So that is a concern. But the bottom line is he's going to be signed, sealed, and delivered. This had to get done. What a season he had. There's no question about it, leading the NFL in receiving and receptions. But the one thing about this player, CeeDee Lamb, is when you talk to NFL people, Scott, they'll tell you he's nowhere close to as talented as Justin Jefferson, but he puts up numbers. So you had to pay him. You can't knock him for the numbers, the production. Like, the guy's great. He's durable also. But in terms of offensive skill, he's not as talented as Justin Jefferson. Jefferson, by the way, has been an absolute stud as well. But bottom line is the Cowboys paid up. They had to do it. Now they can turn their attention to Dak Prescott. And also, of course, Micah Parsons. Once again, the Cowboys wait and they pay.
I got to tell you, it's worth arguing about, not between you and I, but by anyone's standards. The guy led the league in receptions and touchdowns. And the fact that people don't think he's as talented as Jefferson, he's $1 million off the mark. So apparently he is as talented as Jefferson. And I guess the leftover language would be the $1 million shy of what Jefferson makes Jefferson a better player. If you want to believe that, I'm not sure I buy that he's that much better than CeeDee Lamb. Seriously, I think they're both awesome, equally awesome.
Yeah, and again, the numbers, Lamb puts up major numbers. Now, he is a factor of a passing offense. As a matter of fact, with Zeke Elliott back as their starting running back in the twilight of his career, they're going to have to be a passing offense. They're not going to win by running the football with Zeke. He's well past his prime. It's almost hard to believe, Scott, in today's NFL, you can't get a better younger running back, but they haven't done that. They've reshaped their offensive line over the last couple of years. Their first rounder, Guyton, will be a starter. But look, Tony Pollard's gone. He's now with the Titans. I was with the Titans a couple of weeks ago. He'll be their starting running back there. They're going a different direction in Dallas, but it's all about CeeDee Lamb right now, the first of the other deals that they have to get done.
I got to tell you, I think he'll do better than Jefferson again this year. I think that
the quarterback.
Look, the quarterback situation in Minnesota, to me, is not conducive to that happening. I think maybe down the road, this kid McCarthy could turn into a stud and be, hook up central with Jefferson and make big numbers. But we already know what CeeDee Lamb's going to do with Dak Prescott. He's going to light it up, barring injury.
Oh, I mean, he had 136 receptions. When you're a passing offense in today's league and you have a good play caller like Mike McCarthy, and also we should give Brian Schottenheimer, the OC, though he doesn't call the plays, he helps structure the offense. Schotty is a forward-thinking offensive coordinator. He's analytically driven. When you work with him, you're going to throw the football. And I give McCarthy credit because he was sort of a balanced ball game guy. He's not anymore. They're super aggressive throwing it. And let's not forget with Mike Zimmer as their defensive coordinator, how that defense is going to change.
Wow. I can't wait to see how they do the Prescott and Parsons deals. Obviously, they're worth $10 billion. They have more money than God, but how they structure these next two deals is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, and look, with Prescott, it's more complicated because if he just waits, okay, if he waits till next March to get a deal done, you're looking at well over $60 million a season, and it could approach $65 million. That's the stratosphere now because you got a bunch of deals around $55 million. The next group's 60 to $65 million. Dak is under contract, but this is his last year. And then you've got the Micah Parsons deal, where he is now the premier pass rusher in the National Football League. He's got to get a next big deal. And here's the problem. Once again, Jerry Jones waits and waits and waits, and he always pays more than the market bears. He shouldn't do that, but he doesn't. Agents love him for it.
Let's talk about the champs. They made a move today, and they brought back an old friend.
Yeah, JuJu Smith-Schuster's back. He signed there 2 years ago on a one-year deal worth just under $4 million. It was heavily incentivized. He would have had to put a major production to make more than that. But look, when you look at JuJu Smith-Schuster, he's only 27 years old. You would think he'd be like 29 or 30, but he was 20 years old when he was drafted by the Steelers. But look, the Chiefs are bringing him back, as I understand, on a one-year deal. But here's the fascinating part about this, and we'll get into why they brought him back. But here's the fascinating part: the Patriots owed him $7 million, fully guaranteed, and they still cut him. Scott, that tells you that they didn't want him on the roster. He did not do very well. He got his first 2 years of his salary fully guaranteed with the Patriots. But remember, Bill Belichick, the former head coach of personnel control, and Belichick made that decision. But this group, think about it. The Patriots were in dire straits at wide receiver. They thought so little of Smith-Schuster that they cut him. But again, he's only 27 years old. The Chiefs, don't forget now, as we turn our attention to the Chiefs, they needed help at wide receiver. Hollywood Brown has got a shoulder issue. He didn't work today. He's been out for a couple weeks. He's still got to show that he could take contact on that shoulder. You got the possibility of sometime during the season that Rashee Rice gets suspended. They're very young, the Chiefs are, at wide receiver. They need experience, and that's why they brought back Smith-Schuster. And by the way, he knows this offense under Andy Reid.
What's the real truth behind why he's dropped off so dramatically?
What I'm told is he's had a knee issue for several years. I remember back in 22, we go back to when he signed with the Chiefs. There were teams that told me they were concerned about one of his knees, the condition of it long term. And that's why he did not get that big free agent deal. Now, the Patriots, as I said, did give him 2 years at fully guaranteed. That kind of surprised me. But look, again, the Patriots moved on from him, and he didn't do much. But the Patriots had their quarterback problems from last year. They bring a guy, the Chiefs do, and a guy like Smith-Schuster, more of a slot receiver, an inside receiver than outside at this point of his career. He's kind of an older 27. You worry about the condition of at least one of his knees, as I was telling you about. But the guy's healthy now. He passed their physical, and he's going to practice with them this week, and he's going to have a role. And remember, Xavier Worthy, their first-round pick, a rookie, very talented but very raw. We mentioned Rice, who's very talented. He's more of a slot receiver. Justin Ross, by the way, who's a guy who's been on and off their roster, pretty talented kid, a good training camp, has got good size. But the bottom line is they need depth at receiver now, and they're counting on Smith-Schuster.
Is that like the missing piece of losing Valdez-Scantling to put Schuster in that?
Exactly. Because now MVS, the one thing that MVS can do, you're talking about Marquez Valdez-Scantling, he can run, and he's got good size. But yes, he would be that one guy, and he won't start. Juju's not going to start. He'll be a backup. But the bottom line is he gives him that veteran experience. And Andy Reid's a spread offensive guy. They want to run a lot, 11 personnel, 3 receivers, 1 tight end, and 1 back. And to do that, they need